It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, this has been depressing. Tomahawk, let's stop talking about all this nonsense and stop wondering what the heck the games industry is doing to itself, and let's just wrap this one up.
Can we do a nice episode next week?
No. Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 169 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that's asking itself, has the game industry lost its mind? I'm your host as always, Mr. Luvva Luvva, and with me is my frustrated yet internally hopeful co-host.
I take 1 week off. We vowed we would never ever bash the gaming, and I find that we're just back here doing it all over again.
I know.
Hello, everybody. It's Tomahawk here.
When we come up with the idea for this podcast, we were like, do you know what? Challenges are really fun and they're evergreen content, and we don't have to do the news because everyone else does the news. And yet, 2 episodes in the last 3 weeks is all about news that's happening.
It can't not be talked about. I feel as if we're not discussing it, we're just sticking our heads in the sand. Really? May as well get our 2 cents out in this point.
If we can't talk about the game industry after the week that we have just witnessed, I don't know when we can. We don't often do games industry episodes, but when we do, it's always awful news.
Terrible news. It's never good. No,
it's never good. When was the last time? I cannot remember the last time I saw games industry news and went, "Ooh, that's exciting." It's always
the state of play reaction. I think that was the last bit of good news I felt, and then it seems a distant memory. And at the start of July or the start of June seems the start of June seems a distant memory now.
It does.
Like so much nonsense is eclipsed.
The buzz from
a summer of games.
The buzz from Summer's Games Fest lasted 3 days before the game industry took its gun out of its pocket and shot itself in not only its foot, both feet, and every other foot in the room with it. That's just crazy. Before we get into this conversation, Tomahawk, because out of the 4 major game companies that exist, 3 of them have found themselves in extremely hot water in the last 7 days. I am, of course, talking about PlayStation, Xbox, and surprisingly enough, Steam. Steam has found itself in hot water twice within the last couple of weeks. It's insane. The only company keeping their nose clean, ironically, is Nintendo.
Oh, Nintendo are their own little niche. They're at this point their own little circle. This also explains why this episode is dropping a couple of days later, because also not because we're lazy, but because we need to collate thoughts here.
We did. We not only did we have to collate our thoughts, we had to collate news as it happened, because it was just a torrent of terrible news after terrible news. But before we get into the conversation, Tom, let's tell everyone who we are and what we do here at High Scores, High Stakes, because as we know, every episode is somebody's first episode. And hopefully it won't be their last when this becomes a very, very, very negative episode. But we are High Scores, High Stakes, and usually we are the internet's only competitive PlayStation podcast where myself, Tomahawk, and our other co-host, Cardinal Smith, compete against one another in a PlayStation gaming league table where every week we pick a game, play a challenge in that game. The winner gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. Whoever is top of the league after 12 weeks wins the coveted High Scores, High Stakes Cup. But we're off season now, Tomahawk, which means we talk everything PlayStation, everything gaming, and this week is no exception. I was going to ask you, what are you playing? But I kind of really just want to get into the conversation of this week.
I've been playing Code Veronica, but we've talked about that in the group chat. I really like it. I'm curious about how they're going to remake certain sections of that game from what I've played. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah.
You cross-dressing freak. That's the only thing. I can't imagine how 2027 Claire Redfield's going to get away saying that.
I don't know. I have no. Although I said this about Silent Hill 2. I had my doubts of how the heck they're going to remake Silent Hill 2 with the themes that game explores. But they did it, and they kept it really faithful. So who knows? Maybe they'll keep. Maybe they'll just update the dialogue a little bit. Maybe not have Steve
I love the
trying to kiss
dialogue.
an
The
unconscious
dialogue's
woman.
incredible.
You know.
He did. Oh my god, he did.
Yeah, it's a weird game. It's a weird game. The storyline is
So beloved as well. Like
it's a
very
good game.
polarizing too.
It's a good game. It's frustrating. The first playthrough, as I've been telling you to do, is it deserves to be played blind so you can have the full Code Veronica experience, because it is frustrating and there is soft lock opportunities pretty much everywhere.
Love it.
But it's a good game. It's a good game. But yeah, I have been playing 2 Point Hospital, Tomahawk. A lot.
I love it. I love it. Do you know what? I remember you saying in the group chat, it was just like, is this? It's basically it was theme hospital,
Theme
wasn't
hospital,
it? Like,
yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, if it's not train sims, it's admin, basically, isn't it?
Indeed. It's really funny. It is theme hospital for a new generation. It's very, very, very good. It's very addictive. And I'm just losing myself in it. So yes, that's what I've been playing. But let's get let's get into the topic of the week, Tomahawk, because it has been a relentless bad news cycle for pretty much everyone involved with gaming. Now, we had a wee conversation before this. Who shall we start with? We spent an entire episode about 3 weeks ago now bashing Xbox for bad news. So Sony have stepped up to the plate. It's not the worst news you will see this week, but it's fairly significant news. Basically, Sony announced at the midway through last week, I think it was Wednesday,
Tuesday,
from 2028, they will no longer be making physical game discs. And if you want to go into a shop and buy a PlayStation game, it will be a plastic box with a download code in it.
I mean,
what do we make of this?
For me, it was very much this was coming. We knew this was coming. Physical was going to be phased out. I didn't expect it to be as cold cut and definitive. I think I said on a video on like TikTok or Instagram or something like that, it was just like, that's 18 months. That's no time at all.
Absolute surgical.
Needless to say, nobody liked it. Nobody took that decision and went, good guy, Sony.
Yeah. It's a strange one. It's a strange this time to announce it. I get why they've announced it 18 months ahead so people can get over it effectively. That's the tactic.
This is happening. Peace with it.
Get over it. And they also announced at the same time they were closing down the PSP and PlayStation 3 online stores as well.
That's
now,
right.
I remember they tried to do this a few years ago, 2021, maybe 2022, and the backlash was so loud that they rescinded it and said they'll be keeping it on for the foreseeable future. Well, the foreseeable future is now.
PS3 and PSP stores, I think we have to maybe accept that their time is up.
Yes.
But I get where everyone's coming from now. Is like what all these games that get delisted and all these games that you maybe get priced out of a secondhand market they're gone forever effectively. And it becomes a preservation thing of...
See, this is the issue.
Yeah, effectively it becomes a preservation of obscure, really bad, really terrible games that nobody actually ever wanted to play. But that's not the point.
It's not just a preservation of obscure games. It's a preservation of games, massive games that are not available anywhere else on PlayStation Store. So in the PSP, just offhand, PSP games I can think of that are massive that you will be no longer able to buy include games like Parasite Eve, like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, the originals, Dino Crisis 1 and 2. I know Dino Crisis 1's now on PlayStation 5 as part of the Classics catalogue. And then you have other games. Loco Roco is also possibly on PlayStation Plus. But there's loads and loads and loads of games there that are massive that you will not be able to buy anymore at all.
Yeah,
it becomes a game preservation thing. This whole story flies in the face of game preservation. Let's be honest here. No game discs means that you're at the whim of Sony here. We are well and truly locked into the PlayStation ecosystem. It's 2026. We've had PlayStation since, well, I've had a PlayStation since 1995. But we are well and truly locked into this ecosystem here, and we see it all the time. I can't remember who it was that just annihilated like 500 titles.
It was the PlayStation Core, or whatever you call it, their movie platform. They just pulled 550 titles and basically went, our license is expired, we're not renewing them. If you bought them, tough.
Well, yeah, basically, and that's it. We are now, we always have been, let's not get it wrong. I mean, Sony reserved the right to ban your account for any infringement in their TOS.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ban your account, everything you associate with that gets nuked.
Voided effectively, yeah.
So you're going to lose it anyway. But this becomes a really massive issue for game preservation at all. I know physical. I don't get the shouting online of, well, this takes away ownership. I mean, you don't own a game on a disc. You own the license for that game disc. But what it is removing is the ability for anyone 20 years from now to put that disc into a working PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 and play that game. It takes away that. But let's be honest here, most games at 1.0 that are on a disc are half games or just completely
it's a day non-functioning. One. Yeah.
For me, the biggest issue here is competition in prices. So for pure transparency's sake here, I have a PlayStation 5 with the disc drive installed. I buy some games physical, some games digital. I would say my games library for PlayStation 5 it's close to 50-50, if not ever so slightly in the camp of I may have a little bit more digital games just because of convenience, and there's so many games on PlayStation 5 that you cannot buy physical, that it just doesn't exist.
You're shoehorned and pushed into that digital corner, at least anyway. No, I'm the same. Like I mean, I have a digital PS5. I will buy them all digitally anyway, and I think I'm kind of at the stage now where I'm only going physical on like PlayStation 2 titles or PlayStation 1 titles, and I think that's where I kind of see physical. I also would argue that PlayStation 5 hasn't had the strongest repertoire of games that I would be proud to own a physical copy of, if that makes sense. Like it's not it hasn't been a particularly strong library of games. So in this generation of console, I'm very much like, I'll get it digitally. I also rely on PlayStation Plus as a service to just get the games that I'm not willing to pay the price points for.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the big issue here, the big issue that I have with Sony, like when this news broke, I quote tweeted the PlayStation account going, what are we doing here? This isn't it at all. My big issue with this isn't games ownership at all, because we never really own the games we buy anyway, but it does take away the ability to play it in 10 years time from a disc. It also takes away, for me, the big issue that I see with this is a lack of competition when it comes to pricing. Because right now, if a new game comes out, I will do the same song and dance. I will go on the PlayStation Network, see how much it is there, and then I'll go on to Amazon or the Game Collection or Shop 2, and I'll see if it's cheaper
or something like that. Yeah.
I will see if it's cheaper on disc. If it's significantly cheaper on disc, I'm banning it on disc. If it's roughly the same price, then I will go on to those same websites and start shopping for gift cards, because they usually have like a wee 10%.
Yeah, exactly. That makes perfect sense.
And knock off value that way. So what are all these online gaming retailers going to be selling when it comes to am I going to go out and spend 60, 70, 80 pound on a plastic box with no disc in it? No, I'm not.
Nah, nobody's doing that anymore.
I mean, who would? It's just
lunatics.
It's clutter. It is clutter by that stage of the game. My wife would argue that even with this skin, they're clutter, but she's wrong. But yeah, that's my big concern, and I don't know how that will fly when it comes to Europe, because Europe are very, very, very stringent on things corporations
A lot
can
of
do if they,
consumer rights heavy. Yeah, I remember the whole Apple flack about the USB
the
thing.
Lightning port,
Yeah.
and the disregarding of the jack as well was heavily criticized by the European Union, saying that there has to be an option for people with wired headphones to listen to their phone. But yeah, this is the big issue. This is horrendous news. Thankfully, from what I saw on the internet is one of those few occasions where the internet was actually united in their hatred for this news, and they blitzed PlayStation with hundreds of thousands of comments, all saying the same thing. What are we doing here? The YouTube has been drowning in people commentating on it. You put up a video about your initial thoughts on it. It's horrendous news. The backlash was so strong on this. The official PlayStation accounts stopped tweeting.
Like they like fully went head in the sand. We're not discussing this. Like even Sony Pictures tried to promote the new Spider-Man film, and everyone just went, "Don't care. You're ruining PlayStation 4."
I think there was a few posts deleted and then re-uploaded with comments off on Twitter.
Amazing.
So that new Spider-Man one got pulled and then reposted with the comments off. But the PlayStation accounts completely stopped tweeting. I think whatever day this news broke, Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it was, they were radio silent until about 7 p.m. today, where they tweeted out about the new fight stick, and they kept comments on, and the comments were absolutely incredible. Is this a physical stick or is it digital only? Things along those.
I think when you get a meta that other businesses start to poke fun at it, like I saw like KFC, Domino's and stuff like that. We are no longer doing physical food, guys. You're going to have to just buy metaphorical food now, and we will just download a PN. Oh no, that was a KFC. You can download a fake transparent image of our chicken if you like.
Yeah, like I think it was KFC. It was like now selling JPEGs of chicken.
But it's like, it's such a weird thing because the discourse, like we're 7-8 days removed from the initial announcement, and there hasn't been a stance change on Sony. I feel as if they are just going to go, don't care, we know better, we're just going to stay the course on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there was a blog post that went up simultaneously with the original announcement where they sort of like justified why they've made this decision now. Yeah. And basically, I know there's been a few people digging into the numbers that we provided. I think they said that 80% of game sales in 2025 were digital only. And I think over the past 2 years, I think they said physical game sales attributed to about 3% of their total revenue.
Okay.
Which is some fudging of the numbers on a huge level, because 80% of games sold are digital. Okay, that seems apples for apples comparison, but when they say that 3% of their revenue was physical game sales, what revenue are we talking about? We know PlayStation is a subsidiary of Sony. Are they including Sony as in the TV manufacturer? Is that where that 3% comes from?
Yeah. Because
if they're selling 20%, by their own numbers, 20% of physical games should attribute much, much more to, than 3%. Are they actually saying that the rest of the digital sales only attributed 9%? Because that's the apples comparison here.
The math ain't math.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. And then it's been coming out in drips and drabs that they've included things on those numbers such as like DLCs and microtransactions. And of course, there is the issue that there's a lot of games on PlayStation 5. I don't know how many there are, but we must be into the low thousands when it comes to actual individual games. And so many games that release on PlayStation 5 are from indie developers or from large publishers who just don't see a market for releasing their games physically. So of course, physical games will sell less than digital when there's more digital games available and they're only available digitally. It's fudging the numbers, and it does scream of, I can't remember when this was, but there was during the shareholders meeting, was it this year or last year, when they said that hardware is becoming harder and harder to make money on because this was the start of the RAM apocalypse. And that they were looking into sort of diversifying their income streams, and they said something along the lines of they were going to lean harder on lean into monetizing existing users further. And this just screams, this is a pure shareholder decision of, why are we wasting money? Because Sony are the biggest printer of Blu-ray discs. Let's not forget that. So it costs them money now. It probably costs them pennies on the disc. Let's be honest here.
Honest, absolutely, yeah.
They own the rights. They own the pressing. They own the materials. There's surely it's
pennies. They are the market, yeah.
Yeah, surely it's pennies. But somewhere in a shareholder meeting, someone's like, "Why are we selling plastic discs? We can just sell our games in one storefront, our storefront, and take 100% of the money from first party titles and take 70% from every other game sold on the marketplace. Why are we sharing our profit with GameStop or Shop2 or Amazon? Why are we doing this? And from a shareholder perspective, you want to maximize your profits, that makes a lot of sense. But from a pure gamer perspective, I like having choice.
Things, I like this idea of being able to go other places and stuff. Like, I always forget that Loaded just doesn't. It does PSN cards and FIFA in terms of like
digital games. Yeah,
it doesn't even really do digital. A huge
not
choice
for PlayStation.
Games,
for PC they do. For PC you can get quite a few digital game codes and stuff like that. It's a terrible piece of news. As someone who likes not going and getting a game delivered to my front door. Let's be honest here, it's 2026. I like the tactile nature of opening that disc, of putting it in the PlayStation and just playing that game, and that is being stripped away from it. When this news broke out, I was like, do you know, I have a few games that I don't think I've ever played.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I went digging into my game collection. I found about 10 games that I have bought and are still in their cellophane wrappers. What am I to do? What's a man like me meant to do? Buy a game digitally and not play it?
Play them. That's the problem.
Let me have my choice of buying a physical game and never playing it. Okay, Sony.
It's like, what way do you want your backlog? Do you want your backlog in a digital capacity or in a physical clutter capacity?
Physical. You get the cool covers. Do you know what I mean?
I remember we did that side quest about what games are in our backlog, and you said Resident Evil 4 remake, and it's still in the plastic wrap. And then I asked you for a picture of your backlog games, and you still have it in the plastic wrap.
Yeah, dude.
Just play Resident Evil 4, man. Come on.
I've played it so many times. I don't need to play the remake.
Anyway, I would have sat with that decision a little bit better if maybe Sony came out and said, look, it's not all the end of the world. We're going to then have to revamp and rejig and reorganize how PlayStation Plus is utilized, a migration of a library, rather than we're going to hold these games hostages forever and then put them in the basement. I think that there just needed to be a little bit more of a roadmap rather than a countdown, a doomsday countdown clock.
It's a doomsday clock. It is a doomsday clock. From this day, there will be no more game discs. And then when news broke, I kind of tried to rationalize it a little bit. I was like, this is horrendous. But is this a method that Sony are trying to use because of the increase in cost of components? Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, we can save money. Can't save money on RAM. Can't save money on silicone. We can save money on disk drives. And I was like, if that saves money, so what? Let's be honest. How much does the disc drive for PlayStation 5? 80 quid? Am I right in saying
80,
that?
80 to 90 pound, yeah.
So let's play a game. It's probably costing Sony about a tenner to make. So not having a disc drive is probably going to save them £10. That won't be passed on to the consumer. But then the flip side of that is the PlayStation 6 is presumably going to be backward compatible, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
You would hope so.
Half of my games library are on discs. How am I to play the games I've purchased on PlayStation 5 on my PlayStation 6 if it is lacking a disc drive in order? So as you say, if Sony wants to do this, the only right thing to do is tell PlayStation 5 owners to take their game discs, put them in their PlayStation, and it transfers the physical disc into a digital ownership license. So we don't need that disc drive. I am not against all digital platforms.
You're thinking a new Microsoft route then? Because that's what they're like rumors swirling about.
That's what has to happen.
Like a disc to digital license. That's not a bad. That isn't a bad shout. It's actually quite like just port your library over effectively, isn't it?
That's what has to happen. I would even argue that you don't even need to put the disc in. I only say put the disc in because it proves you still have that disc. But Sony knows what games you're playing, how long you're playing them. There's actually no requirement to put that disc in the PlayStation other than to prove you still hold the license for it and just transfer it. Because it's always annoyed me. I bought Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation 4, then bought a PlayStation 5, bought the upgrade to PlayStation 5, but to play Gran Turismo, I still have to put the disc in just to prove that I have it. Now, it doesn't spin the disc.
It just reads data from a...
It literally just reads the key. Yeah. And that's it. So I think that has to happen. Has to happen. We've spent our time and money building our games libraries on PlayStation's ecosystem, and for them to go, oh well, you bought it on the wrong format, so therefore you must rebuy it again.
Yeah, they need to like reward us a little bit for it. I think
I'm the man who double dips. I'm the man who triple dips. Heck, I've even quadruple dipped. I'm not doing it. I won't be doing that at all. Am I going to buy Gran Turismo 7 for 40 quid after spending 60 quid the day it released? No, I'm not. But if they say, give me the option to transfer my license to a digital license, yeah, I'll be happy enough for that. I'll be happy enough for that. I'm not against all digital future. I'm really not. The convenience it gives is incredible. And I have a Steam Deck, and PC has been all digital since about 2007.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it's not the end of the world. I think a lot of people took it personally in the first couple of days, and it's the save physical, but I get it. The knock-on effect is that the physicals that are in circulation then become a bit of a seller's market, really, and it drives that price up in every sort of generational ecosphere of gaming. It's just odd, and it doesn't sit well.
Even if you want to get sentimental with this here whole thing, right? We every Christmas we do memories of gaming at Christmas, and every single memory we have comes from unwrapping a console or games. And from 2028, if you're a PlayStation gamer, there's going to be a whole generation of kids out there who will never have that sensation of opening a new game on Christmas. And I
can't wait to open up my digital code, guys.
That's wild to me. Because we always talk about those memories on this podcast. Always.
Always. And that's gone. That's gone in a generation.
Here
crazy.
Is a £70 PSN voucher to buy that game you wished for, Timmy. Oh, good luck downloading it because it's Christmas Day and everyone's hammering the servers.
But there'll be no raking around the shops or buying it and it's come loose from the little stopper and it rattles in the box. There'll be none of that anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no reading manuals in the way home, but they haven't been in the game since
manuals in
2014. The whole game. You know what are we doing here?
About manuals. I was telling you, I went to the car boot and I bought a 007 game which had a manual in it, and I genuinely going up the road was like, oh my god, it's perfect condition.
What are we doing here? We are we are giving up these. They're not conveniences, but they are options for
Nostalgia
profit.
tropes. We're sacrificing nostalgia tropes for convenience and money.
And that's it. That's it. So that is Sony needs to do better here. I think we need to backtrack this. At the very least, they have to confirm PlayStation 6 is going to have a disc drive.
Yeah.
At the very, very, very least, that's what that they have to confirm is going to have a disc drive in order to allow people to transfer their games onto the next system. Otherwise, where's the point? Where's the point? Do you know what I mean? I spend most of my time on PlayStation. I spend a lot of time on PlayStation 5 playing PlayStation 4 games, even now.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. It's horrendous news, but not to be outdone by PlayStation. Microsoft have come to play it. Now, we did say at the end of that Xbox episode that we weren't going to talk about Xbox again until something big happens.
It was very much Sony did what Sony did, and then Microsoft went,
hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Hold on. You think that's bad? Wait. Just you wait to see what we are going to do. So the rumors that we'll start small. All right. In our Can We Save Xbox episode, which I think we kind of have, we said that compulsion games that Tim Schafer, when he come Double Fine and Ninja Theory were all on the verge of being closed down. Now, yesterday, Xbox put out a release saying that those three plus Undead Labs have not been closed down, but they have been
spun off
given
or sold
ownership.
into new ownerships. Yeah.
They have been given ownership of their titles, and they are now fully independent again. They are no longer under the Xbox Game Studios label, and they are free to keep their games. Double Fine said they have a clean break. They have kept all their IPs, and they are continuing working on games that they were working under the Xbox umbrella. Same with Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
And on the Undead Labs, folks have said that State of Decay 3 is still in active development, and it's still happening. I mean, we'll see about that one. So it's good news that
I feel
they
as
just
if
didn't slam the door in these.
It's silver linings on this one, because like we did talk about how Xbox needs to do a big restructure, and I think that they've obviously listened. They've obviously watched the episode and went,
obviously,
these guys are right. I think this is like 32 jobs, 3,200 jobs in the next 12 months will be dropped. A massive Microsoft restructure. 1,600 people were already let go within like the last 24 hours or so. That seems to be mostly in terms of like who's in the studios and who's retired and who's left and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't sound like as damning a number when you sort of break down. It's huge.
I think
in terms of it's devs in studios who have been spun off and have sold, and they've dropped whoever Xbox game studios have effectively dropped. So the number's not it's not as doom and gloom a number when you think about it, when they've been given financial pathways to be independent for a period of time.
I mean, yes. I mean, is this better news than, oh, you see those 4 studios, they're now shuttered and everyone's out of a job? Is it better than that? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I don't want to see, I'm sick of seeing people keep losing their jobs in the games industry. It just seems to be happening all the time. But let's be frank here. I think Double Fine will be fine. I really do. Tim Schafer's been here before when they broke away from Ubisoft. I think what we'll see happening fairly sharp with Double Fine is they'll go back to Kickstarter and things like that, like they did when they're independent the first time, and we'll see them get kickstarted. They have a really loyal fan base and they will support them, but I still think Double Fine will have to let a couple people go just to make ends meet. And the same with Compulsion. Now, I don't know if Compulsion have a new game. coming
I
out?
don't think
I'm presuming no,
after
because
South of Midnight there was nothing major in their
they've
pipeline.
announced
No.
nothing. Now, I'm presuming they're making something, but that one, I think you could see them sacking people or paying people off in order to pay the bills and keep the lights on a little bit. The one I'm worried about, so Ninja Theory are being sold to some mystery buyer. I think they'll find a buyer, to be honest. But Undead Labs have been released to go independent in order to find a buyer, and I don't know who's buying Undead Labs. If I'm being honest, I don't know who is buying them. And then on the back of all that, there was a whole load of other announcements about Xbox. Arcane seemed to be in a wee bit of trouble. I think it's so there was a leaked email from Xbox saying that Blade was over budget and way behind schedule. The only thing I think saving Arcane is they're French and they're protected by really robust European employment laws.
Yeah.
So they'll have to work around those. I think Arcane are in danger here, massively in danger. They could be the next ones to be allowed to just break away. If that happens, there's not a hope that they're keeping Blade, because that's Microsoft money. That's Microsoft money. And then Bethesda is being shaken up, overhauled, streamlined, and they're now told to focus on their 4 biggest games, which is our 5 biggest games: Doom, Fallout, Quake, Wolfenstein, and The Elder Scrolls. Blizzard is going to be hit with layoffs. King have been told there'll be layoffs, and they've also been told that they now, I don't know how this worked, they've now been told that the CEO of King reports directly to Asha Sharma, which begs the question: they were bought 2 years ago. Who were they reporting to?
Like just doing their own thing, it seems.
Was it anyone? Who were they? Surely they were reporting to the head of Xbox. Surely they were reporting to Phil Spencer, but apparently not. And then Mojang...
Phil Spencer's probably never heard of them.
I mean, Mojang have been told that Asha Sharma believes that Minecraft has been horrendously mismanaged and they need to do more with that, which I can only presume means we're going to monetize this a lot more and we're going to make more
paywall
sort of merchandise, maybe a Minecraft 2 or something along those lines. I don't exactly know what exactly they've got deal, but I don't think there will be some layoffs there as well. And again, they will also have to report directly to her. So who the heck was managing these teams? If it wasn't Phil Spencer, who the heck was overseeing these?
Like let to run riot, really.
Because the best part about it is Minecraft is literally in every single Microsoft Game Studios showcase every single year, sometimes 2 times a year. Who the hell were they reporting to? Like, were they basically just independent but siphoning money from Xbox? I don't know what exactly is going on. The more this goes on, the more you can see, and this is something that I hit them with in our last episode, was there's just no management here at Xbox at all. It was a ship with no captain. As good as Phil Spencer was in talking to gamers and how good he was at talking up a big game, there's clearly nothing there when it comes to a business acumen, when it comes to leading teams and managing teams and keeping teams on track. Because even if you go back to Undead Labs, they announced that game in 2021 or 2022. And then we saw nothing till this summer.
It's basically just been like, Microsoft, by the way,
Microsoft no longer want them.
It's crazy. Well, they did say that like every game that has been announced is not cancelled. Like it's
for now. The email said for now.
It's a huge mismanagement of the studios. What are they saying? Like as well, all the acquisitions over the last couple of years, they've lost 60 cents to every dollar invested.
Yeah, 64 cents for every dollar they've invested since 2022 has been lost. And then there was a update on the Game Pass numbers. So you might remember Phil Spencer 2023 said that by 2027, Game Pass would need to have, in order for it to be sustainable, they will need to have 75 million subscribers by 2027. And they are currently
million or something like
42. 42 million. That is it. I think Sony's PS Plus has like 100 million subscribers.
Oh, right. Okay. So substantially less than.
Yes. Like everything Xbox do. Yeah. 44 million. It did drop off significantly because at one point in the Xbox One, they had 37 million subscribers at one point on Xbox One, and then it dropped substantially, and then it went back up. Yeah, it's not looking good. And then, as you said there, Microsoft said that by the end of financial year 27, which is the year we're currently in, that Microsoft as a company will be losing 3,200 members of staff, and 1,600 people lost their jobs, including those developers we talked about there. 1,600 people lost their job in one day, and Xbox as a subsidiary or whatever they is, a department of Microsoft, lost 1/5 of all of its employees in one day, which is
crazy, like
insanity. I know I said they need to restructure. I didn't mean sack everybody. But this 1 in 5 people in
it's
Xbox
a hard reset,
have lost their job. It's too late for a hard reset.
Oh no,
all they're doing 100%. Is just burning public sort of goodwill. It's gone. It's gone. I think this is one of the biggest days in the entertainment industry for layoffs, and they all came from Xbox.
It's wild. Like, to be honest, it's a scary place to be at that point, even as a not knowing if the job is secure for another day. Like, and then that's another year of they're going to have to go and do cuts for the next 10, 11 months and basically whittle it down to a list of those other 1,600 people effectively.
Yeah, the worst part about this is the people who have now woken up. I'm sure they've were given a severance package, don't get me wrong, but those things don't go very far, especially not with the cost of living these days. But those 1,600 jobs at Xbox, it's not as if 1,200 people can come in behind them and take those jobs. Those jobs no longer exist. Yeah. That is 1,200 jobs in the games industry that has just disappeared overnight, literally overnight. And it's insane. And it has to stop. Why would anyone want to get into the games industry if that's how they get treated? Let's be honest here, right? We talked about mismanagement of the Xbox, of who were these teams reporting to, if not Phil Spencer. Who the heck were they reporting to? But the mismanagement here is crazy. Double Fine were bought by Phil Spencer. And Phil Spencer said, we bought them not because we expect them to have a major mainstream hit. We want them to make the games they want to make, to pad out Game Pass, to make Game Pass a value proposition. They did that brief to the letter. They didn't make a mountain of games, but they made a good few games that were all critically well received and were never, like Keeper was never going to be a mainstream hit. Kiln was never going to be a mainstream hit, but they were told you don't have to make a mainstream hit. Make a game you want to make it good, and we can put it on Game Pass and get.
That's what it needs to be. Yeah.
And they did that. So all these people, these 1,600 people, are being told that you no longer have a job, not because you did a bad job, but because your boss made decisions that have led us to this path.
It's like bonkers. It's bonkers scary. Like, it's
bonkers.
Is.
I think there's not a person in the planet who would go, do you want to know what? I was doing a bad job. I deserve to be fired. I think people could handle that, but losing your job whilst you're doing exactly what the corporation is telling you to do.
Yeah, that's even worse, I think. But
that's
do you know what? My hope is that these studios that are being sold are being spun off, like they sustain and thrive and do whatever, despite the fact that a lot of their games are rated in the high 60s to mid 70s, but that's not the point. We're not here to bash their catalog. We're here to we're here to talk about the survival of the industry effectively, and that's what you'd hope to see. And I say that Microsoft did say, look, there will be monetary plans for them to sustain themselves, but how long that's going to sustain them for is going to be another scary proposition, I suppose, in the long run. And you could end up just seeing, is it a stay of execution for 12 months, 18 months before they go, we can't do it. Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't know how it works in the games industry, but I'm presuming they give them annual budgets. This is your budget for this financial year. And I'm presuming they're going to walk away from Microsoft with the rest of the money for this current financial year. Yeah. And they're being told that's it. After this, you're on your own. You're done. We're done with you. We don't want nothing more to you. And then there was more news coming out of Xbox. Things like Halo Studios, whatever they're called these days, are being pushed into the management of Activision.
Oh, yeah, that they're going to
ensure consistency and quality in Halo. Okay. And all this here business. It's Xbox have it. I said this 3 weeks ago. It does not look good for Xbox at all.
It dwarfs in comparison for what like what PlayStation did and announced. It seems very small fish now compared to like what's gone on in bigger picture for Xbox now. But from what we were talking earlier, they're not the only. This is the only other culprit here now as well.
No. Shall we get into Steam and what Steam has done?
I feel as if we don't talk about Steam enough.
Yeah, first and foremost, they announced this price for the Steam box. So they did. And when I say the price took me
gobsmacked.
Wow, the price is eye-watering. So the UK, now, as far as I'm aware, they haven't announced the European or UK pricing, but the pricing, if we take the dollar amount and change it into real money, the 512 gigabit Steam box or Steam machine.
I still think it's a Steam machine. I'm 100% convinced it's still called a Steam machine.
I'm going to call it the GameCube, right? The GameCube is going to cost £938, and the 2 terabyte bundle costs £1,208. Now that is for the machine by itself, the Steam machine. If you want the controller with either of those, that's going to cost you another £70. So £1,008 for the 512, £1,278 for the 2 terabyte. That is a chunk of change.
I also don't like the Steam controller. I think it's too long. I think it's an ugly controller, and it has the gimmick of the Wilhelm scream, and that's it.
I think it could surprise you, because I remember seeing the Steam Deck and going, that looks like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen in my life. The Steam Deck is an incredibly comfortable thing to use, and the trackpads are awesome, like truly awesome. I think it could be a lot more comfortable than what it looks. I think Valve do a lot of all the handhelds I've played. The Steam Deck is the most comfortable one I've ever used, and it's one of the heaviest that you can buy, and you do not feel the weight in it. The price for that is crazy. And when you consider that the reviews for it have been less than glowing, like it struggles to run AAA games.
It has a poor optimization. I've read on, even for like running First Light, or we talked about Cyberpunk before the record and stuff as well. It just seems to struggle with games that a regular PC player, their current setup will run that 5 times over.
Yeah, it struggles. Like a lot of the comparisons I've seen is against the base PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 5 comes out on top, which is... Correct. I'm not spending £1,000 on a PC that's worse than my PlayStation 5.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm just not. No, I'm just not. It doesn't make any sense.
For the price point that you're paying a Steam machine for, you can go out and buy a pretty decent spec PC.
Yeah.
Pre-built.
Yeah. Yep. Now, when they announced the price for it, they got a load of flack on Twitter.
Of course.
And Gabe Newell himself released a press release basically saying this isn't the price we wanted it. This is the price we could get it at, and this was the best price we can get it at. And then he goes on to say he starts blasting AI. Says, the AI has driven up prices of consumer grade electronics, and also, and he's like, we tried to shop, and when the RAM or storage companies asked how much we were willing to pay per unit, a lot of them says, yeah, we'll get back to you on that, and they never rang them back. And he's like, we just had to pay the prices that they wanted us to pay, effectively. And it's basically, don't blame us, blame them. And he's right. I've no doubt in my mind when they announced this, they thought it was going to be £700 for the base and maybe £800 for the big one.
Bigger,
I've no doubt in my mind,
whatever,
because anything more than that, can you buy a base PC for £700? Not really anymore. You're making concessions either with your processor, your RAM, or your graphics card, and in pre-built, you're probably taking a hit in all three of them.
Yeah.
At the same time to get it to £700. I think now a base PC costs in the region of £800
to £900.
Do you know what I mean? And that's not a machine that's going to be running Cyberpunk at 100 frames per second. 60 possibly, yeah. But PC is not cheap anymore. Nothing's cheap anymore. But the price of the Steam machine was eye-watering.
And it was crazy. And when's it due for release as well? Because it's from the price point to now, or to its release, seems very close.
Yeah, November is when they made the announcement for it. And then the lottery to be able to purchase it was about 2 weeks ago. And I think they're due to start shipping next week or the week after. I think is the plan.
A lottery?
Yeah, you can only buy it on Steam. And in order to avoid scalpers, they basically had a lottery where you just registered your interest. And then they put the winners into two piles. You can buy this right now pile, and when we get more, you can buy it then pile, in order to avoid bots and scalpers and stuff.
Makes sense.
I'm sure there's a load of people who put their names in there to buy it, to sell it, though, no doubt in my mind. But it's nice to see
like
a
those
games company
people
actually,
who were buying GTA Deluxe editions to scalp.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See how that went for them.
But it's good to see a games company actually thinking, how can we stop scalpers from buying 10, 11, 12 of these? It's good to see it. I'm sure it made not a blind bit of difference, but it's nice to see a company try.
Make those efforts, yeah.
And then yesterday, there was more Steam news. And this Steam news came from a indie developer called Zoro Arts. Now, Zoro Arts made a game called Paddle, Paddle, Paddle. And it's basically, it looks like friend slop, as I call it, where you and another player just basically rowing down a river and just going through like an obstacle course. No.
Yeah, streamer bait, I believe, is the correct term.
Yeah, no, it's actually friend slop. Man, you know what I mean? Never change my mind this. It's friend slop. But he put out a tweet yesterday saying that 21% of the people who bought his game finished it, like completed the game within 2 hours and then refunded it. And he's asking, how can we do this? Now, the weird thing is a lot of these people who did this, before they refunded it, they left a positive review on Steam, because Steam only allows you to review games that are in your library and you have playtime on. So if they had refunded it and then tried to leave a review, it wouldn't allow them. But they bought the game, completed the game, left a positive review for it. The reviews on Steam are overwhelmingly positive.
Okay.
Yet 55,000 people who bought the game refunded it, and Steam were like, yeah, no bar. Because Steam have one of the best refund policies in gaming, where if you buy a game and don't download it within, I think it's 14 days, you can just refund it. Or if you buy it, download it, and play it for less than 2 hours, then you can refund it. No questions asked. It's no questions asked.
No questions asked. That's crazy.
No questions asked. So he was on Twitter going, how is this possible that people can buy a game, complete it, and then refund it? and there's nothing I can do about it. So one in every 5 people who bought his game refunded it, which is...
But like, it's a solo dev indie game. It can't have been very cheap to buy either. So like, or it wouldn't have been very expensive to buy. Sorry, I should say. So
no,
like,
it wouldn't have been. I have no idea how much it was. Probably about £8.
But I don't understand. Like, that's a lot of refunds.
It's a lot of lost revenue for him.
Yeah, that's
like 250,000 copies sold.
Surely, like Steam keep a track of play complete. You know the way like PlayStation Store or your PlayStation,
of course,
Play Stats has like a percentage of where you are in the game. So surely Steam has something like that, and there should just be a threshold as well, or a secondary threshold that you have to meet. That if you've completed more than 50% of the game, you're not entitled to that refund. Surely.
I mean, yes. I mean, maybe Steam does track your gameplay.
That being said, actually, there's people I know who have, after 500 plus hours, have requested refunds for Phasmophobia, and they got the refund purely because the game's in early access, and they've been promised a completed product for 6 years and it's not arrived. So I suppose that there are means and ways about the rules.
Yeah. not as promised. I mean, after 1,000 hours, that's questionable. But yeah, it's a funny one. I can see his point of this shouldn't be allowed, but then those are the rules. And basically, what he's asking for there is, please take away consumer rights in order for me to keep my money. I see the argument from both points. Am I happy about consumer rights being removed from players? No, because we just had that conversation when it comes to Sony.
Yeah.
But maybe if you've completed a game, if you've got the achievement for finishing the game,
that's an abuse of TOC, I think, or TOS anyway. In that instance,
they should
like,
go
you've completed a game, you've completed a game, and then or blitz the game purely to just then get a refund on it. Like, if you didn't like it, you wouldn't have finished it. That's kind of where my argument stands on this.
Yeah, it's being abused when there is more than one YouTube channel that the whole premise is, can I buy X game on Steam, complete it, and get a refund? There's more than one channel.
That's just a mad premise that people have and think and go, that's acceptable. That's an acceptable behavior. I get that this guy's poured his heart and soul into making this game.
Yeah.
And he's probably made a tiny bit of coin anyway for the people who didn't refund it, but that's a lot of lost revenue that he could be putting into optimizing or putting into a second game or hiring someone to make more content. Like,
yeah, it's I don't know what to even think about it. All I do know is a lot of people, this is the one story this week where people are torn between, well, no, because we need to encourage more digital game fronts that have a refund policy that actually is a refund policy. Because currently, Sony do not give refunds on PlayStation purchases. Once you download it, then you are no longer eligible for a refund. How they get away with it, I do not know. But I do know, I think that's the policy. Once you download it, you can no longer refund that game. Yeah, and I don't know how Xbox works.
I think Xbox is pretty much the same ilk there. Once it's downloaded, once you've paid that purchase point, or at that purchase point at the end, I think that's it. There's no going back, basically.
Now, I have used the refund policy on Steam. Not a lot, but a good fair amount when it comes to games that I buy that just cannot get run on my Steam Deck. Like, I did refund Dino Crisis 2.
Okay.
And a couple of years ago, I refunded, I think it was one of the Resident Evil games, because it wouldn't run at all on the Steam Deck because of DRM. But I would never complete a game, even if I didn't enjoy it. If I've completed it, I'm going, don't know what, got my money's worth, happy enough, and walk away from it, and never play it again. It's just a crazy concept to me. You can enjoy a game to its fullest and get your full money's back, no questions asked. It's crazy. But
so paddle is $2.39 on Steam.
So there we go. So it's, I don't know what 55,000 £2 are, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. Like he's out, like effectively he's at 130 grand, just shy of at least anyway.
Give or take. Yeah.
That's 130k that goes into that game to make it better.
Or
exponentially better.
Game.
Or another game as well. So like
it's insanity. But
blurs the lines.
They're all at it. They are all at it. Even Nintendo tried to get a wee bit of action in there by announcing that they were discontinuing the Nintendo Switch 1 is now from 2027 will be discontinued, but no one cared because Sony were dropping bombs and Microsoft were dropping
themselves in the foot and everything as well.
Nuclear armories on its own.
I think we did talk about this one. I think we had said about that one in the group chat that it's like by the time it comes around to 2027, the Switch is 10 years old at that point.
Yeah.
And you think that most people will have migrated to the Switch 2 at that point. But I think the hardware seems pretty, like, the hardware's old, but the hardware is solid for a Switch. And I think, again, we're probably in this infancy of what's in the catalog for the Switch 2. Are people just going to hold on and take care of their system then?
See, I think part of the reason for it is they increased the price of the Switch.
Oh, exponentially.
Not that long ago.
Twice already.
Twice, yeah. So they're probably thinking, if we're paying this amount of money for RAM, then let's just stop making the Switch 1 and put all of our money into the Switch 2, which makes a lot of sense. No one cared about that news, by the way. As you said, it's a 10-year-old system in a few months. I think it came out March 2017. It's a decade old. Who cares? You know, the Switch 2 is fully backwards compatible anyway. So just play your Switch 1 games on your Switch 2 if you have one. If you don't have one, buy one, probably is the message from Nintendo. Or just keep your Switch 1 and play it on that. That's what me and the kids do, is we still
easy
play
peasy.
the Switch. And that's easy
so
peasy.
Like Nintendo weirdly coming off pretty well in this situation for never having to get involved in this. Like who'd have thought the console wars we all thought were dead and buried after like live service, like streaming platforms became a thing. They've just, firstly, Xbox decided at the Summer Games Fest that they were going to reignite the console wars, and then now it's a race of who can be the biggest arse in gaming sphere. Yeah. That's where we've gone.
Sherry put it really succinctly in the group chat. Is like, it's a race to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly from, we had no interest in games and just looking at it, you will be asking the question, what is going on over there? What are these companies doing? What are we doing right now? Why is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One nearly double what they cost in 2020 when they released? What are we doing? Why are we talking about Grand Theft Auto costing £120? What are we doing right now? It is, don't get me wrong, I remember the days where Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo cost £90. I remember those days. Gaming has always been a luxury. It's always been a luxury. But we are on the track for it to be a luxury for the extremely wealthy. There's a lot of people out there who are currently playing a PlayStation 5 who are thinking to themselves, how am I going to afford a PlayStation 6? And right now, all the manufacturers, their answer seems to be, we don't care.
Yeah. It's
and that's
move on or fall off, basically.
Just sit in the PlayStation 5. They don't care. It'll all add to their monthly active users.
Aye. Wild.
It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, this has been depressing. Tomahawk, let's stop talking about all this nonsense and stop wondering what the heck the games industry is doing to itself, and let's just wrap this one up.
Can we do a nice episode next week?
No. I'm sure something else will happen. That is it, Tomahawk. Another episode all wrapped up, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not sad to see the back of that one at all.
Wasn't buzzed about talking about this one, to be honest, but
it has to be talked about.
It has to be talked about. Like, we can't deny it, we can't avoid it forever, and 90-second short videos aren't going to deep dive it as much as we did. And feel much more miserable about it. Much more miserable.
Yes. Let's wrap this one up. Let's do the housekeeping and get out of here.
Too right.
Before we get into the housekeeping, if you're listening to this, we're sorry it's late, but there was a lot going on in life and in gaming, and we just had to get it recorded whenever we could get it recorded. But it shouldn't impact future episodes. There should be one on Monday as well. But yeah, we'll double dip. But yes, if this 1 hour-ish of depressing video game content isn't enough to fully depress you, we have far more episodes in our back catalogue. The easiest place to find them is
and they're much more fun and positive too.
Yeah. The easiest place to find them is any streaming platform or YouTube, or if you want to go to highscoreshighstakes.com, there you'll find every episode we've ever done in video format and little game reviews for every challenge game we have ever played. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform and you haven't yet rated High Scores High Stakes, give us whatever you think rating we're worth. Whatever we think we're worth, that's what we get. 1 star, 2, 5. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better because it feeds the algorithm and tells Spotify or Apple or whoever or wherever you're listening to this that more people should listen to us, and it gets us in front of more eyes and more ears. If you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, hi YouTube. How are you? If you haven't hit the subscribe button, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, do that now. Ring the little bell icon, and why not leave us a little comment saying who performed the worst in the games industry this week. Let's do that. Who is the biggest, most evilest video game corporation this week? And if you really want to help us out, just hit that hype button as well. And if you've done all that and you still haven't shared this podcast with a friend or family member who you think might like it, do that now. Our analytics tell us that the vast majority of you are listening to your phone. Hit that share button, get it into WhatsApp, and send it to one person you know, or even better, send it to everybody you know. And with all of that being said, thankfully, I have nothing left to say except I'll be Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been a really depressing edition of High Scores, High Stakes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next Monday. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.